We are here at day one of the calling in Antwerp, and I saw a pretty spicy stream, so to say. So please tell me your name and what did you play today?
My name is Sebastian Linn, and I got to beat a fatigue ultim on stream as Fi, which I did by starting as counter-fatiguing him and then out-aggroing them once they realized they cannot fatigue me, because they use 2 cards and I use 1 every turn.
Wow.
So
that was really amazing. I have to say, I was really amazed when I heard about it, because I didn't actually knew this was possible before the event. I don't really play that intensively competitively, so I was really amazed by that. Thank you so much for showing that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy I got to showcase it on stream, because I feel like this is something, once people know how to beat that, fatigue ultim becomes no trouble if you're on Fi and you have the right cards, which ain't much. You don't need to play much to have almost an auto win against fatigue ultims, and then you just have to worry about the regular old ultims when they're worse bravos, so that is manageable too.
So how was your record today?
So I finished 6-2. I got to start with a loss in round 1 immediately. Beaten by the aforementioned Bravo. Then I won the next 5 rounds. I beat Bravo to Azalea's a Fi mirror, actually, that was cool. And something else. Oh yeah, the Ultimate Stream, of course. Then the second to last round I lost to an Uzuri, and in the win-in final I beat a Viserai.
Wow.
So yeah.
So you had a pretty diverse matchup.
Yeah, but no Lexis, which is very important, because this is one of the matchups I am not that keen on playing. This is tagged to manage Lexi, but it's still one of the worst matchups, which means if you get unlucky, get a lot of Lexis, it can be rough. Or if you want to play it in your locals and you have a lot of locals Lexis in your locals, you get good practice against them, which will help, because you can beat them. It's just really, really tough.
So actually Fi is my favorite hero.
Good choice.
For CC. And I got to record a couple of deck profiles now for Fi, and I think your list is very different from the ones I have seen so far. So what do you think have changed over in the meta? We have seen bans for sure, but what did change?
Unban Belittle. Justice for Belittle, number 1. So, but what changed with Outsiders was there is a lot more focus on having to block, because now there's way more relevant and dangerous on-hit effects in the meta, which meant that first of all you can't go with the pre-Outsiders. If people remember the full pouncing links Emberblade, I'm gonna deal 30 plus damage in a single turn, and then I'm half a hero, but you're set low that I'm just gonna manage and still beat you. You can't really gamble on getting 5 cards anymore when Lexi throws frailty tokens at you. You get Codex of Frailty too. You get, and they out damage you with some insane Rain Razors 3 of a kind turn, as many of us probably have experienced already. So we have to be able to block. We have to be able to still present a threat with less cards in hand. So we need more than just damage. We need to actually do something weird. We have to play on-hit effects, which is that might be some unheard concept for people who do Salt the Wound for 10, and on-hit die is also on-hit, but we now have to diversify our on-hits from just die.
So what do you think made you play Fi for today?
Okay, that is more of a personal thing. I'll wait for the announcement.
Yes, one thing.
The cosplay competition.
Oh yeah, the cosplay.
Very soon. It is nearly efforts. Gather back if you want to see all the amazing costumes that these people have come up with.
Guess we know what we'll be doing after.
Yes, right.
Okay, so the question was, sorry.
Why did you decide?
Oh yeah, why did I decide?
Today?
Okay, first of all, I played this hero since his release in Uprising. I went through Stubby Fi, I went through Belittle Fi, I went through all the Fi iterations, and so my first instinct was, okay, I'd rather be a really good Fi player in a really large field of over 600 players here than average mediocre Oldhim player or a mediocre Lexi player, because I can play this hero. I'm good at this hero. I'm confident in this hero, and I'd rather play him than be average on like the top tier meta picks. And another thing is the top 3 right now are Lexi, as obviously, Dromai and Oldhim.
Yeah.
And for people who have ever played Fi with Mask of Momentum versus Dromai, know how much fun this is for your side and how little fun it is for them. So you get Dromais are a buy essentially. Like I personally have never lost to a Dromai on Fi.
Wow.
0 losses. Like I'm like 15 to 20 and 0. It's like I don't know how you can lose. It's possible, but your odds are so low. So if you got a Dromai, you basically almost always win, unless they get the super nuts and like shoot off your mask very early, and even then they are still not favored. And the other one is Oldhim. And as I mentioned earlier, Fatigue Oldhim cannot beat you if you do play it properly, which I will show later. And the like normal aggro Oldhim is a worse Bravo, which you can also beat because they don't have cripplings, they don't have the dominate, they don't have the real threats that Bravo can present. So you have good odds against the 2, so you have a good matchup into 2 of the top 3 heroes. And then there's Lexi. So okay. So I needed to find a way to manage Lexi while still being super favorable in the other 2 top heroes, and that's how I built the deck, and that's why I picked the Fi too. Like just personal experience, just being good on the hero and coping myself into like I have 2 out of 3 of the top heroes are good matchups, so this is gonna work out, right?
Yeah.
Your standings after the last round
Let's go.
of A1. Shortly.
Good to know.
Until the posted, you will have 5 minutes to check out the standings are correct, then they will become final. Congratulations to 84 players. Who qualified for 2
84? 84, 6 and 2 then.
If you cannot
One of them.
Yes, let's go.
84 players with 6 points or more. You have to drop this evening.
All right.
I will not drop.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay.
So yeah, let's jump into the deck.
Okay. I have the equipment here in my hand. So one thing people will immediately notice if you are used to pre-outsiders Fi with Emberblade is we're actually not running Emberblades. We're actually using the Godachis because we want to be annoying. We want to be really annoying. And what's more annoying than an attack for 1? Attack for 1 that enables you to draw cards at some point. So our main headpiece is no longer the pouncing links. I'm gonna put them here so we get the equipment like this. It is now primarily momentum. We still have a pouncing links, which I'll get to in a moment, but it's reserved for 1 to 2 matchups, which I'll get to later. So yeah, like the other equipments haven't changed much. So we still run the Flamescale Furnace, we still have the Shukos, we still have the Snapdragon Skin. So this is our main loadout, which we will use in like 90% of the matches. We want to have our fridge, which is also really nice because unlike pouncing links, which you have to destroy to use, momentum is always active, so it actually gives you 2 life at the end,
Yeah.
which is super relevant because this can help you live a Lexi turn sometimes when they are at low life totals where you probably won't be getting a mask trigger anymore. And as our sideboard text, we have the Searing Emberblade, which is used for exclusively Oldhim. This is like, Oldhim should be honored. We have 1 card dedicated just to beating him. And the other 2 are the Pouncing Links, as mentioned earlier. We still run it. We also run it into Oldhim. And we have it for matchups which go way too quick from Mask of Momentum to Matter, which is primarily Kano. It's actually just Kano. Because our only last equipment is the good old Spring Tunic, which we can use against matchups where we don't need to have much focus on blocking, so Icelander, Kano, and we actually run it into Dromai because we notice we can do whatever we want into Dromai, so we'd rather have the 1 resource to unbrick some more clunky hands because the block doesn't matter. You let them draw their cards with Caloria and kill the next turn, they're fine. So you don't need to block much versus Dromai anyway, so we can afford to run Tunic there.
I want to touch on Tunic action for 1 second because like I always suggest when I talk to new players or to people who are interested into playing Flesh and Blood, try out Fi because he's really easy to learn at the beginning, and he's also cheap.
Yeah.
So you would not say that Tunic is like relevant into playing, right?
No, as long as you don't have many wizards around, you are fine playing Furnace. We run Tunic into Oldham too, I remember, but you can play Furnace too. I'll show you how, like, why it's relevant. Furnace actually is more consistent in the Oldham matchup, but less high rolly, and you have a block too. So I used to prefer playing Furnace over Tunic a lot. Oh wait.
Please be aware that Battle Hornet is limited to 236 players.
Battle Hardened, yeah, right,
Yeah,
tomorrow.
okay. So yeah, you can go get by with just Furnace. The Tunic is only, again, wizards. You're fine running Furnace into Droma, you're fine running Furnace into Oldham. You can actually even, if you want to go for it, you can substitute the Tunic for Blossom of Spring for Kano specifically.
Yes.
Because that matchup is going to go quick, because as you may have noticed, we're lacking a certain critical component a lot of other equipments run, and that is Arcane Barrier. We actually run AB0.
Yeah.
Which means, for some reason, the name always comes up, right? Kano. It's very scary. But you're just hoping to not meet Kano, period. Luckily Kano is not played a lot, and we're gambling on dodging him. I beat a Kano with AB0. That's like one of my greatest achievements I've ever accomplished. But I'm not looking forward to having to replicate at any point, so I'm just hoping to never meet a Kano. Icelander is manageable with this. You just need to focus more on blocking their attacks, because your life total is like, you can't prevent their arcane, so they have a certain kill range with their Storm Striders, so you want to prevent their attacks and block those when possible, and then still be able to go back. And Icelander has a lot of trouble dealing with small attacks.
Yeah.
So Kodachi's gets very annoying for her really quickly. And the cards we have in the deck will do too, which you'll see, I think, now, right?
Yeah, right.
I think
Let's
the equipment
put together the equipment and show the main deck.
I'll put them back in the order I always have them, which is the main stuff first, and then the quote-unquote sideboard card second. I'm just gonna put this like here.
Yeah, sure.
And see how much it is. Okay, I'll start with the main deck. There are sideboard cards which are not in every matchup, but these cards are in every time.
Okay.
So we only run one Phoenix Flame.
Can you place them a little bit more?
Oh yeah, we start here and then we just move them out of the way. Okay. We only play one single flame in the main deck. We have a second one in the side.
Okay.
Reason being, we don't want, in certain matchups, you don't want 0 blocks in the deck at all. We actually cut out of force in some matchups too. Because there's matchups, because of the Outsiders meta, where we're in now, we need to block more. And 0 blocks, don't block. So we only run the one flame, which will start in our graveyard, so we don't have to draw it at any point. Which means we don't have any 0 blocks in some decks. Then I'm gonna go over all of these real quick, because these are just your go-to. You all know them. Your Draconic starters. So we have Rising Resentment, we have the free Ronin Renegades, the free brands, which are your best Draconic starter in this deck, because they enable your Kodachis to be Draconic, which means you can do things like do brand, pitch a blue for a Kodachi, which is Draconic now, and then you can activate 5 for 1 resource and present a Phoenix Flame on your third chain link for 1, and on hit you draw a card. There's a Mask of Momentum, which means your opponent he got a 3 at first, which for most of them they don't block, a 1 and a 1, and then you threaten a draw, which means they need to make a decision now. Commit armor, commit a card from hand. You're happy if they block one attack, a free attack basically for a full card. Then we have the Blaze Headlongs, the Mounting Angers, and our finishers, the usual, the standard, stock standard finishers, Lava Burst and Snatches. Those are the red finishers list. Though this is the core. Everyone who has ever looked at a file list in the past year basically has seen the same core. Like, these cards are always in. We always play them. We want to go wide. We want to present a lot of free go against, and we want to get some breakpoints with the force, like Mounting Anger, Blaze Headlong. Present some on hits, again Mounting Anger, Snatches. Then a card which has fluctuated in and out of our main and second sideboard is Enlightened Strike. We also have the full free here. They are fully main deck by now, because again we are in a block heavy meta, and there's almost no better 2-card hand than just an E-Strike for 7. You need to make do, and they block for free in some cases. They can be clunky in some turns because they always eat a card from your hand. You can't just use a resource that you have left over. But that's something we have to deal with for now. I prefer playing them in the side, but there's no way around it right now. Then we have a card which has also come in and out of decks, which is Ravenous Rebel.
That's spicy for me.
They are in because, again, they can be a 4 breakpoint, and we want to present as many breakpoints as possible to make Mask of Momentum more annoying to block or to prevent. Our blue count is just 12, so our odds are pretty favorable to get a 4 or at least a 3. So as long as you don't hit a blue, you're most of the time happy. And even if it's a 3 or a 2, you still you try to threaten a mask with it or anything. It's still a good card, and most of the time it comes in for 4. Then a card which is probably one of the spiciest ones is Double Strike, a 2-off. I played 2 Double Strikes. Again, this is one of the cards we it came in originally just for Lexi, and then we noticed how annoying it is to deal with, because it's basically Kodachi the card. It's 2 attacks for 1 in a card. So you again be annoying. You present a 1. You try to every mask threat you want to present should be a 1 or a 4 if possible. So you can be the most present the most annoying breakpoints. Because as soon as you, if they have a lot of armor, as soon as you eat away their armor and they have nothing left, which will happen quickly with the deck, because these are so tempting to block with an armor piece, because it's just a 1, I'm not going to give you a card, yeah, I'm using an armor. And then you notice, oh, I don't have any armor left. I had games against the Bravo where I look in, his armor completely gone. I'm looking at mine, I have a -1 count on my Flamescale Furnace, rest still intact. Because I was able to pressure him with all of these things, and he didn't want to give up cards from his hand, so he just chipped away his armor, and then we were both at still over 20, but he had no armor. And at that point, his game plan just completely fell apart, because he could never keep a full hand, because he always had to respect my draw threats. Then another card that is also came in as an idea to be more annoying against Lexi and present more on hits is Take the Tempo. It's an old favorite. Again, if it hits, you get to bench the top card of your deck, which is cool if you got to reveal it with Ravenous Rebel first, because then you know what you're getting into, but I had it today, it was nice. And again, it presents an on-hit, getting to 3 hits, so you need to have 2 hits that hit prior to this, if this hits. Is easy, because we run Kodachis, we run a lot of annoying little attacks, and you can do this simple, Kodachi, present a breakpoint attack. I had Ravenous Rebel for 4, on hit I draw, they block it and then take the tempo, which then makes it pretty hard for them. They have another 5 attack, they need to make a decision. And what used to be a reason why you didn't play it a lot is the 1 cost. But with Kodachis, you are a lot more flexible with your resources. You don't need to have the 2 resource for your Ember Blade. You don't have to be okay, pitch a blue, Mounting Anger, Ember Blade, oh, I'm out of resources, this card is bad now. But you can use them flexibly. Kodachis can be your filler, and if you have this, you can weave it in, and you always should have a resource that just isn't then used on a Kodachi. Then that's all the reds. Then we get to the yellows. There is the full playset of yellow brands as well. They, as I mentioned earlier, they are our best Draconic starter. So we actually played a full 9 of them, because they enable our Kodachis to be Draconic. After if you play this and then attack with a Kodachi, that's a Draconic Kodachi, which can matter if you have a Spreading Flames turn, because then it gets buffed to 2. And it matters especially for the Fire activated ability, because that is a discount to the Fire ability, and you're actually not getting your Phoenix Flame back every turn with this deck. You have a higher number of non-Draconic attacks, your weapon isn't Draconic, so it can happen quite a few times that you don't even get your Phoenix Flame back for multiple turns. So whenever I have a brand in hand and use Kodachis in a turn, I get a Phoenix Flame back guaranteed. Do brand for 3, Kodachi for 1, activate 5, get a Phoenix Flame for 1, on hit draw, if they didn't block any of the prior things, which they most likely won't. So you present annoying threats, and that is something only brand enables as your Draconic starter. The others would require you to pay 2 resources to activate 5, which you don't want. Then a card which has been swapping between 2 and 3s, but we play 3 is Saltermoon. because again we run Kodachi, so our average hit count per turn is higher because we have the 2 1s instead of 1 3, which is more often blocked than the 1s as well. So this gets buffed. It enables, it pitches for 2, it enables our Kodachis as well. It pitches 2, gives 2 resources, costs 0, so Kodachis have go again. So actually at this point I think I tend to block or pitch it more often than I actually play it. But when it's good, it's really good. So you run the full 3 because they're never really a bad card in hand. As I said, they can pitch, they can block, so they have their purpose. Then the blue brands, which I mentioned, so I'm not gonna go into much more detail. And the other blues are just are generically block 3 blues. So we have the 3 Soul Beat Strikes, which is our best 2-attack 3-block blue, because it has an on-hit, quote-unquote, which has come up where I had 1 card left in hand and played the Soul Beat, and I'm like, okay, are you gonna block it? And I just arsenal the last card, or are you gonna take it and I might play the last card, which was a snatch, and he took it, so it was nice. Then we have a new card from Outsiders, the only new card we play at this moment. It's 3 Stab Wounds. Again, it's a 2-attack, 3-block, which is the core component, and it has an upside on hit effect, so it's better than a Fluster Fist or Winds of Eternity at this point, because well, it can threaten 4 life if both of your Kodachis is hit. And the last one is just Lava Vein Loyalty. Yeah. They're really just here. They block 3. They can sometimes be played in like a Spreading Flames turn. They can be decent. In your regular turns, they should have go again, so you might be able to discount your Fire ability with it and get this too. So if this one enables you to play, get the Phoenix Flame back, so it actually comes in for 2, 3 if you have Shukos. Yeah. So they are just the best of the rest of the blues. Yeah.
So this was the whole main deck, right?
This is the whole main deck. This is what I play in basically every matchup. There's like one matchup where I trim on some blues, but it's like the only one where I cut 2 blue brands, which is Azalea, because you want 3 blocks. You just need to get some blocks going, because otherwise if you get red in the ledger chained, you're screwed. And that's like how you try to do it. Okay, so I'm gonna put the main deck over here, and I have the sideboard right here. That's quite an amount of cards, because you are gonna be bringing in 10 of them. Okay. Very much. So this is 50. The main deck is 50, and out of these you bring in 10.
Alright, then show us the main deck.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with the fun package, which you get to play against matchups, which is like feels like pre-outsiders, where you just get to race and you go to be full aggro, go as hard as possible, try to get 5-card hand out of 4, just like get your extra large playmat, because yours just isn't enough to play all of your combat chain links, which is the second Phoenix Flame that I mentioned earlier. We have one on the side, which we bring in when we bring in the fun package, which then includes an old classic, which used to be a free off in all Emberblade lists, but as our Kodachis are normally not draconic, we don't get that much value out of them, because our draconic chainlink count isn't as high as it is, most of the time isn't as high as it is in the Emberblade lists. So we only run them in the side when we actually get to increase our draconic count to be more relevant. Then we have 2 Flamecall Awakenings, which we want to play as soon as we get a second Phoenix Flame, because even if you play 2, you never want to draw it. So you want to draw this and get it in your hand. Yeah. And then maybe pitch it again and to get another Flamecall Awakening to draw another. Because if you pitch it, it's at the bottom and that's your only shuffle effect. Rest in peace, Belittle. So if you get one, you should always have 1 Phoenix Flame in your graveyard, but if the second one is free to be pitched in some cases, or put on the bottom with E-Strike, which is really strong. If you activate 5, get a Phoenix Flame back, E-Strike for 7, put the Phoenix Flame on the bottom, so these are online again. Then we have 2 Rise from the Ashes.
Beautiful card too.
It's my favorite artwork in the game. Before I got this playmat, my go-to playmat actually is the Rise from the Ashes artwork. I'm still trying to see if I can distract this entire hall, or this entire hall is distracted, because there's a Rise from the Ashes banner right there.
It is.
And my intention is that this is not there at the end of the event, because it's in my backpack. But I'm probably not gonna be that evil or lucky. Maybe I can ask someone, I don't know. Yeah. So these are there to get your Phoenix Flames back. Yeah. If the worst case is they come and just you get play the flame for free. So it's a 0 for free that took away your Phoenix Flame, which is the worst case. the best case is you play it, you get your Phoenix Hand back, you Kodachi, and then you place Blaze Headlong for 7, go again, because this is red, on hit, draw a card. If that happens, you feel really good, because that 7 is still a breakpoint, it's 4+3, and they will hate it. So we put it in the sideboard. 1 is in the main deck most of the time, except for Icelander, where I don't want to run any non-attack actions, because I don't want to give them any priority window before I put down my first attack. Never. I never want to start with a non-attack action where they're like, I play Rise from the Ashes. They're like, okay, Channel Lake you. Oh, pass turn. You're done. You haven't even dealt damage, while normally they have to leak some damage to get the Channel Lake through and then stick it for the next turn, and that's why I cut them both. Normally I play 1 in the most matchups and 2 in the for fun package. Then a card which some keen eyes may have noticed is missing for now is the Playset Auto Force.
The big banger.
The big banger, your best card in fun matchups. One of the worst cards in your matchups where you block. Because Auto 4 really scales with your hand size. 4-card hand, Auto 4, nice. 5-card hand, Auto 4, chef's kiss. 3-card hand, Auto 4, 2-card hand, Auto 4, you're pretty desperate, right? Like we're just praying to draw some, like, I don't even know what you would want to draw if you like have 2 cards in hand, you pitch one, and like you can't even do it. Yeah, you're done. Like, so against matchups where you want to block, or need to block, rather, we never want to block, but sometimes you have to, right? You actually cut them, which currently in the current meta is against Bravo and against Azalea. So we are respecting those 2 enough to cut the Auto Force, because you want to be. You can't rely on a high roll against them, because you have to have a situation where your high roll happens, or you're ready for a high roll at the same point in time where they have a low roll.
Alright, players, it is now time for the cosplay competition.
I have a few cards still to go through. Okay.
Right now, at the entrance, our show is beginning. Don't miss this. We'll have a parade of all the cosplayers in their amazing costumes.
Fair enough, yeah.
See if we can still catch a look at it after.
Once again, cosplay competition, including the parade, is happening right now at the entrance. Come and see.
Let's go.
Yeah. So again, Auto 4 against, for example, Azalea and Bravo, where you cut it. It needs to line up, like they have to have a weak turn, and you have to be ready with like Auto 4 in arsenal or in hand, and like have a 5-card hand, and that just doesn't happen often enough. And as I said, then this card becomes more and more mediocre the less your hand size is, and you need to be able to play good, or at least decent lower card hands, and like every hand should be able to threaten mask.
Yeah.
Like that is your goal, and Auto 4 does not help you, and it costs 1, so it doesn't even enable Kodachis. Bad card. It should cost 0. It would be fair and balanced.
Yeah, fair enough.
Then another card which we bring in for matchups where the opponent doesn't have much armor is Red Soulbeat Strikes. 2 of them. Here's the thinking too: if the opponent doesn't have armor, these become again super annoying because they are a pseudo on hit. They are 4 go again. Which means against the Lexi they need to commit 2 cards because they only have New Horizon, they have Tunic. They will not give you any of these equipments for a Soulbeat Strike, which means you can put them in awkward spots again. Like a good 3-card hand would be a blue Soulbeat Strike and any random card, and you could do Kodachi Soulbeat and you put them in the spot again. Like do you block it? Do you let me draw? I get to Arsenal anyway. Like this is a prime blocking target now. Like you want to block this, right? You want to give me 2 cards, Lexi. You want to block this because otherwise I draw a card. And as this go again, I can continue. And you want to force them to, again, make rough decisions. And one big upset about playing this whole Mask of Momentum spiel is you give your opponents a lot of opportunities to outplay themselves. To be like, oh, I need to block this mask threat, and they block it and they just ruin their own turn by blocking it. I tend to say a game where I never drew off of mask is a game where my opponent probably blocked wrong. When I win. If I lose and I get high rolled, I mean, then that might happen. But if you win a game and you never drew off of mask, it might be the reason that your opponent just respected mask too much and lost that way because they ruined their really good hands by blocking. And this helps because this is, again, playing into the mental where you, like Soulbeat Strike is just, so that's a juicy blocking target. And if it doesn't fit your hand, it still blocks free, so it can it's a good defensive tool as well. Then a card which has to become a core main component because of all the rangers running around is free Command and Conquers.
Yes.
Which again,
Getting blinded.
which is yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't gotten around to getting them either Blackboard or even foil. Or Marvel. I mean, that is the end goal, but yeah. I'm sorry for the white border.
Yeah, but best card.
But yeah, I mean, everyone should know why this card is really good.
Yeah.
It's a good 2-card hand again, just do Blue Pitch Kodachi, Command and Conquer. Hey, that's even better than E-Strike potentially. You can do simple things. It allows you to get back tempo against Lexi because this is a card they actually have to block, whereas like Mask is still a choice, and this is such a big threat where you can like force them to commit, and then you get some modicum of tempo back. And I actually had to sometimes had to have it happen where I play CNC and they block 6 and I auto 4 just to put CNC on 7 and get their arsenal and get 2 cards from their hand, and it's such a huge tempo swing, which is worth the auto 4. And then we come to the part which we have to play now because we are in a defensive meta. 3 Sync Belows. They used to be in before too, just to deal with Bravos, deal with Oldhim, be able to block 4 more, get around dominate effects. I mean, everyone knows how good the cards are, and it can fix your hand because it might happen that you draw too many of your defensive stuff, and then you're kind of like you can't really get an offensive turn going if they have an off turn. And then there's one last card, which is probably the spiciest of them all, which is Reinforce the Line.
What?
Okay, probably need to get a bit of read.
Okay.
It's an instant, which is really important, which says target defending attack action card gains +4 defense. So it's a pseudo defense reaction which requires you to block with another card, which is the downside. So you need to block with an attack action, but as you've noticed, I think the only non-attack action in our entire deck that would be able to block is Rise from the Ashes. Everything else is an attack action, so there's a lot of valid targets there. And because it's an instant, it's not a defending card per se, so it gets around dominate even while being in your hand, which something like Sync Below does not. I actually had it happen today against the Bravo game I won, where I fully blocked Pummel Spinal Crush. Because he went Spinal you for 9, I'm like okay, block 5, any reaction, like, he pummeled, like okay, Sync Below, Reinforce the Line, block 13, still have like fully blocked it, and he committed everything to it. He took damage for it. He gave up his arsenal and didn't have a seismic, and I just went like, I've won a Blaze Headlong, arsenal pass, and you get your 4-card hand, you do your thing, but I fully blocked the Spinal. I took no damage from it. I denied you the pummel value. I kept my life intact, and you don't have an arsenal, you don't have a seismic. Even though you have a 4-card hand, you're a Bravo. You don't even have that much tempo right here. And yeah, this comes in against Azalea. Against Uzuri, it's also really good. Not good enough because, again, apparently I lost to it. But because it's good against Azalea, Uzuri, and Bravo at the moment. So it really helps you in those matchups because, especially Uzuri, which targets your arsenal a lot with Leave No Witnesses and CNC, being able to block like a dominate attack with 2 cards from hand, because this kind of gets around it, is really important. But yeah, you run into the risk where you have too many defensive cards. You can run, like I had hands where I had like a Reinforce and a Sync, which are kind of anti-synergistic because you can't buff the Sync up with Reinforces. But you get around it. It's not as bad, and it's worth it most of the time because you need to be able to block currently. You need to be able to block a lot currently.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the entire deck. And yeah, whenever we bring in like the full 6 defensive, we cut the auto force because we don't want any 0 blocks in our deck if we go for this full defensive build and try to be like work with a lower economy, which if I admittedly does not work that well with, but we have to make do and have to get around it. That's like what the deck is built for, to be like still be annoying while being on a lower economy hand, which. So yeah, that is the deck. Like short sideboard overview. Against the decks that don't have that much on it, where you just play aggro, you run the fun package, as I said, which is this, the draconic extras, the auto force and everything. When you like against decks that don't have a lot of block value in their armor, namely rangers, you bring in the soul beat strikes. Let me check my notes. For Lexi, we actually have to like remove these all and get in like soul beat, and we have the CNCs for obvious reasons. So we go up here And yeah, like we're like this, and then let's see what else is in here. I think they're not. But yeah, you wanna be annoying again and just present like a lot of threats. I don't run defense erections into Lexi, which some people might surprise, but you still need to be able to be a threat. And while we need to block, we don't like these are too much in most cases. Zinc Below is so tempting because of Endless Arrow, but we actually find like hard blocking the Endless Arrows and dealing with the other stuff. And because their breakpoints are 5 a lot of time too, with like the new affliction shots and stuff, these sometimes just disappoint you a lot. So yeah, this is what we bring in, and I'm not sure what am I missing. Oh yeah, right, of course.
These are coming too.
The Rise from the Ashes. Yeah, these are in. So these are the 10 you bring in for here. Yeah. We're just gonna go over the most important matchups. So this is Lexi against Dromai, which is the other of the top 3. You get to do the full fun thing. So you got to do this, do the full Draconic. We are going to make big chain links, present big numbers, have fun. You can consider bringing in poppers, but as far as I noticed, you don't have to, because you can kill their dragons easily. Their dragons are loot batteries, thanks to Mask of Momentum being having a really dumb interaction with them, where you can just use them as an on-hit trigger, so they have to block way more than they want to. But yeah, you can if you're finding yourself struggling, you can consider bringing in Command and Conquers, just to have like some poppers in there. But they can clunk up your hands. Yeah. Just be warned. Against Oldham, you actually swap your attacks, so you still don't play these because CNC is bad because Crown exists. Soulbeat is bad because they can block it too well. Reinforce is not necessary because their on-hits are not that threatening. Sink Belows come in. So this is the suit we play against Oldham. We actually play a bit more than 60 that way. We play 63. And the important part is the equipment, where you actually don't run you go. Cliffhanger right there. Okay. Where you actually run the Amber Blade, Tunic, and I mean you only have Snapdragons, so you run Snapdragons, which is how you can beat Fatigue Oldham. Oh yeah, Troopers are here, obviously.
And I would also say at this point, like everybody that is still watching and is interested in getting to know more about this should watch also the stream, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was on stream today playing this exact list against the Fatigue Oldham, where I showed how to counter Fatigue Oldham, where you force them to commit 2 cards to blocking while you only use 1 card attacking.
Yeah.
And my opponent at first didn't realize, and then they realized what I was doing and tried to counter aggro me, but then you're playing against a Fatigue Oldham that tries to aggro with Sun's Kisses in the deck, so you'll see how it goes for them. They can't really keep up with your pressure, because then their deck is just not made to be playing aggressive. Yes. You can see it on stream. I'm not sure if you want me to show real quick how you do it.
We are already at nearly 40 minutes, so I think we need to hurry a little bit. And
okay, yeah, then I'll just give a quick rundown. You try to get 2 Phoenix Flames in your graveyard. You pitch a blue in their turn to get a Phoenix Flame back. In your turn you do Draconic Starter, which is your 1 card you commit to it. Phoenix Flame, then you pitch your other cards. If it's 2 reds, you pitch 2 reds, attack with the Ember Blade. Okay. Then you have 3 Draconic Chain Links, so you have this. Let's do... grab one from here, right? That's a starter. This, and then you can activate 5 because that's free, and get an Phoenix Flame back, which is this, which triggers your Shuko. So this comes in for 2 cannot be prevented damage. So you have 3, 1, 3, 2. And the way it works is they can't block it with just 1 card and then their Shield and Crown and Earth reacts, because this is 2 non-preventable damage. Yeah. Which means they either give you 2 cards or they leak more damage. And that way you actually, you used 1 card, they use 2 to block, so their deck runs out before yours does. And then either you fatigue them that way, or you they need to keep more cards in hand, leak them more damage, and then you can just push further later in the combat chain, because they have to leak. So yeah, that's how you beat Fatigue Oldham. And yeah, I think I covered the 3 most important matchups. And again, this is your go-to pile, the fun package, where you just Like this is the one into most of the matchups, and then you have your tag matchups which are the current meta decks.
I mean, this is one of the main reasons to play Fire anyways. Right?
Exactly. I was pretty sad today because I actually played Art of War in only 3 matchups today. I played against Oldham, I played it against the Viscera, and I played in a Fire Mirror.
Yeah.
Every other matchup of my 8 matches today was no Art of Wars. This is the reason I played the deck, and they took it from me. So yeah, so this is the deck. This is the idea behind the deck. It felt pretty good. It still feels pretty good, but I have to mention I dodged Lexi today. I haven't met a single Lexi. I went 1-1 into Lexi at the Pro Tour, and I lost to another at a side event. But like it's one of your worst matchup, which you have to keep in mind. Like you will meet them normally, and you're not favored. So yeah, be mindful of that. Like don't tilt out of your mind. Like just hope you get a Dromai next and just feast. Just feast on a Dromai.
So tomorrow 5 Dromais and ready to go.
I wish. I had 0 so far, but I mean I'm not sure. Like I'm probably taking the deal. No Lexis, no Dromais. It's a deal I'm taking right now.
I mean it's good to be day 2 anyways. Like,
I'm super happy to be stoked to be day 2, especially with this. Like we have dubbed it Kaiju-Fi from like the animated series, the kids show, with like the little bald kid, which is the most annoying little prick, and we try to replicate it by playing the most annoying little deck by presenting the most annoying little breakpoint attacks and making this card the most annoying it can be.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving this details on your deck and also into your experience here at the tournament.
Glad to talk about it.
I wish you best of luck for the next day.
Thank you.
And yeah, I want to give you the opportunity to shout out anyone at the beginning.
Yeah, sure. The biggest shout out has to go to George Roger, which is the reigning UK national champion, which is who I worked with on this list. He's actually playing a very similar version of this as well, and he's also 6-2, so he's also in day 2. So we have 2 fights at least representing tomorrow, both with this kind of idea of being annoying. Then there's Weird Fam, who's my main training partner, a good friend, who actually got me to the Pro Tour in Baltimore. Then also shout out to Carsten Royce, Saren Royce, Stefan Hofmüller, which are the 3 people who actually got me into this game. They are the reason I'm playing Flesh and Blood. And then shout out to the Munich Flesh and Blood community. You're all awesome. I love having you. I love playing you. I hope you're still not sick of Fire yet, because I haven't been playing much else. But yeah, you're gonna have to deal with me for longer. But yeah, love you all.
Thank you so much and see you the next time.
Yeah.